perfect. It runs about, I don't know, 342 pages or something. And so what I thought we'd do is I'd kind of go through the first 200, and kind of like what are you guys laughing at? And so here's our first story, and it's called Dixie. Sometimes my mind travels back to my 8th grade year. Mom stayed sober for almost that whole year, and I remember feeling so grateful. Every day a victory. Every day I had my mom back, herself, all of her humor and her hard work, going to meetings, mostly in church basements with stainless steel coffee urns, everybody smoking cigarettes. We made it all the way through the bite of winter, a Syracuse winter, and that's saying something, since the sun in upstate New York in winter sets shortly after breakfast. We made it clear through the lilacs of May. In May, we flew down to New Orleans with my dad. He had a 4-day medical convention. All that week, my dad was busy with his conference, while Mom and I roamed the city. This was 1969. The New Orleans I saw at 14 was basking in the glory of its squalid history. There was such joy, such reveling, the dirges, the funeral sadness, and yet the blues, the ragtime, the beat unstoppable, that Dixieland jazz, that whistling past the graveyard. I'd seen the Harlem Globetrotters at home in Syracuse just a few weeks before the trip, and I treasured their theme song, Sweet Georgia Brown. Not yet. Every day as my cold symptoms ebbed, my hearing improved, and by late afternoon Friday, I could hear the tremor in her voice. We'd been wandering around the French Quarter in the rank humidity. We ducked into a smoky, cavernous bar where a jazz band was playing. I didn't even think about the fact that it was a bar until a lot later. Afterwards, back in our hotel, I flopped onto the king-size bed, expecting Mom to flop right alongside me. Oddly, she seemed more restless than tired. She stood at the curtains and stared down at Bourbon Street. At the window, Mom yanked the heavy drapes closed, plunging the room into early twilight. "You should go," she said. "I don't know anybody. There'll be kids your age." She was trying to talk me into going to a swim party for teenagers that the convention people had set up. "My cold, remember? I shouldn't go swimming." "You don't have to get wet." And that's when I heard the tremor in her voice. I sat up hard against the pillows. What an idiot I was! How did I let it get this far? I jumped up, heart ricocheting in my ribs. I crossed the room to the TV, seized the flimsy pages of the home box office schedule. Let's see what's on. No thanks. Or hey, I know, you can call one of your AA friends, like Don C. Or do you mind? Mom said. Frankly, I could use a break. We've been stuck together all week. My lips pulled in prune-like they do when you're trying to keep all your meanness inside. And what exactly do you plan to do when I'm gone? Mom sank down on the corner of the bed nearest the telephone. I wondered if she was thinking she would call room service, or better yet, use the little key to the minibar. I nosed my bare feet into my flip-flops, grabbed my bathing suit and towel, and went to the door. She sat hunched on the bed. I waited. She did not call me back. There was nothing left for me to do but open the door and close it, with me on the other side. I puckered my lips, and I began to whistle, Sweet Georgia Brown. And this is where you come in. Bring it home, baby. All right, let's do it. Everybody whistling with me. All right. Oh yeah. When I came back to the swim party 3 hours later, it was as I had expected. Mom passed out cold on the bed, surrounded by empties. I snatched up the empty bottles one by one and I lobbed them into the hotel trash can, and I didn't care if they smashed and broke, clinking together, but they did not break. I wondered if Mom would ever be sober again, if this was the end. When I read this to my daughter Julia, she said, "Well, was it the end? Did she keep drinking?" And I'm really happy to say that after this one slip in New Orleans, my mom went back to AA and she started her sobriety over, and she was sober the rest of her life, which turned out to be 9 whole years. And she died unexpectedly of a brain aneurysm, actually, when she was only 52. But she gave us this gift, this wonderful gift, my brothers and I, of her sobriety.